So I've seen either businesses that I've owned and operated, or certainly, others that we work with as clients, or even just conversations, right? They'll buy the business, they'll grow the business, they'll have the business, whatever the story is. Okay. Then, like we've talked about on the pre-call, right? Really growing and expanding the business, not just from a branding perspective or a market share, but also just a margin and service, right? So I'd love for you to share like how you went from, call it, traditional model to expansive model to really take your existing customers and really add additional value to them, as well as expand your reach to the greater population. Because fundamentally, even just from us on the show, as I've mentioned before, like, we have a couple of our team members who live in Orlando, and it was like, hey, like, use this as a service, right? So even just that own expansion and us connecting in this situation brought at least one customer, right? So you just never know where things are going to come from, but that margin piece is incredibly important. So tell us more about either that experience, that process, and kind of what you found along the way and why it's so important.
I mean, I think most business owners, once they get into a business, they start to really understand their numbers. And if they don't, they should. Understanding your business math, your unit economics, your
Yeah.
margins of what am I spending, how much am I buying stuff for, and how much is left over at the end of the day after I buy all those things. And the real good business owners obviously do that process every month, but then they also start to ask themselves questions of, well, how can I get more out of what I already have? And that was always top of mind for me. I already have infrastructure. I already have equipment. I already have a space. I've got customers that are using me for X service. Okay, how can I start thinking of additional layers of revenue, utilizing and capitalizing on these things that are already in my possession without increasing my CapEx and still driving up my bottom line? And I think that mindset is what makes the difference, and it's something that I'm constantly doing. So, at first it was, okay, I have self-service, I have customers coming to my store doing their own laundry. Well, how can I expand to a further radius from my location and help service other customers? And that's where pickup and delivery comes into play. And then within pickup and delivery, you get questions from customers on, well, can you do this? Do you offer this? So listening to your customers on what they're asking for and starting to think about, well, maybe I can offer that. How would I do that? What would that cost? How would I logistically make that happen? How do I then test out this new service line or this new service type? Do that for a bit and then fully roll it out. And then how do I communicate that to my customers, whether that's email or text message marketing or PPC or other ways to get it out there? So I think being close to your customers, listening to your customers, knowing your business numbers and your business math, and constantly having a mindset of how do I do more with the same is how you constantly increase that and contribute to your bottom line.